Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to just kind of a simple chilling chat. We're going to hang out, Wang Chung. It's good to see everybody tonight. Trying out a brand new device, and we're going to see how this turns out. What's going on, Rodney? I guess you already know Cinnamon's over on TikTok. Oh my God. Hey, what's going on, Simon? Initially, I was going to go live tonight, and I was going to live stream a little bit of Fortnite, but as I don't know how well you can tell right at the moment, actually, you can just chilling out. Awesome. Well, it's a chilling chat. Princess Pay worked out all the bugs for my OBS, and I was going to go live tonight and do a little bit of Fortnite, save the world sort of thing. And I'm going live a little earlier than usual because the weather's been bad. It just started coming down hard. Just got home. Karate class. Are you enjoying that? Hey, what's going on, Chairman? I know a lot of people are going to be in and out tonight, so I figure we'll go ahead and get my time in. Keep them watch hours up. Tomorrow. What? Guess what? What? Tell me, Rodney. Tell me. I've got to watch all that skit yet. Hey, what's going on, Megan? Good to see you guys. Oh, you're actually... all building her first AR. Now, I'm going to ask a question. Okay, if you're building her first AR... Karate in bed, awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. If you're building her first AR, you're going to go with the usual 222 or 5.56 by 45, cartridge, or are you going to go ahead and maybe look at the 9mm, or are you going to go ahead and go all the way to a 308 caliber? Just curious. Or for those of you over in other parts of the world, that would be a 7.62 by 51mm NATO cartridge that I asked him if he was going to go all the way up to. Because you can build ARs in different calibers now. Just curious. Are you going to go with the standard, and are you going to go with any rail systems, or probably the same as yours? Are you going to go with any rail systems, any tactical rail systems, or are you going to make it look? Yeah, shoot both. Yeah. Well, it's pretty much the same round. I mean, if there is any difference, it's so minuscule. 16-inch barrel. Good choice. Now, you know that some of your sporting catalogs, some of your military surplus catalogs, you can get the uppers that would look just like they were out of Vietnam. Oh, really? Really? That's pretty neat. How you doing, Gavin John? Good to see you, buddy. I know you're over on Twitch and all. Okay, okay. Well, see. Hi, honey. Usual, yeah, 16 1 twist on it. Oh, you're back on YouTube? Awesome. I know you've been busy. Haven't been able to get caught up with you. I just you got a brand new cellular device, so we're trying it out tonight for live stream. Along with that, oh, the copyright bullshit. Yeah, you had actual copyright strikes, or just like hey man, we can't let you do this. We can't let you claim this because you had this. Mm-hmm. There's a little known thing about the AR-15 is based off the M16. We know the AR-15 is the civilian version of the M16. Now, there's a long-going debate still amongst your guys. Oh, okay, all right, I got you. It wasn't like real bad. Okay, that's not so bad. We can live with that. I get those every now and again. And it's like, you waited this long to say something about it, you freaking douche nozzle, you know? But any hoop-de-doo. You know, it's videos that are like, 4 or 5 years old. You know, it's like, you waited this long? Man, y'all are bored out of your mind at this point, but that's okay. Because out of like 900 and something videos, come on. I ain't worried that big about it. But anyhow, uh, there's still a long going debate amongst your Vietnam veteran community, which was the better rifle, the M16 or the M14. Now, for those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, the M14 is based off of the M1 Garand. Douche. uh, you know, the M14 is basically based off the M1 Garand. Now, that fires in semi-automatic or fully automatic 308 caliber. Or, well, the M14 has its advantages and its disadvantages. Now, you have rapid fire 20 round box magazine, detachable in the bottom, in 7.62 by 51 NATO or 308 caliber. Same cartridge. I don't care how, yeah. Yes, I heard about that. I heard about that. You know. Hey, Sunset, I'm going to tell you right now, there are some people in here right now that, oh, what's going on, J-Dog? Sunset there. Yeah, the original M16s weren't that great. And I'm getting to all that. But the M14 was a heavier version. Now, they do make what they call the SOCOM 16. See what I mean? You got to be careful, Sunset. So it's a little bit shorter, a little bit easier to handle. I think Springfield Armory, again, makes that particular rifle. And Springfield, for the longest time, handled all of the United States military battle rifles. Handled almost all of them. Except for like we're talking Browning machine guns and everything. Now, so a lot of, you held ARs are nice. I mean, if that's your sort of thing. But the thing of it is that we're talking, in 308 caliber, full, full rock and roll. So in that regard, we're talking, they were dragging those things out of mothballs because the M16 just, oh, you got shot at, shoot. I'll tell you the coolest weapon I have ever fired in my life. German K98 from World War II. I own one. And that son of a gun, it kicks on one end and it maims on another. Right? Actually, if you want a cool carbine, I have used a Colt before. I've used different Colts before, Megan. I've used different Colts. The best Colt I have ever shot is the Walker, 1841 Walker Colt, and it was a Uberti clone. Hey, what's going on, Lewis? We're talking, serious firepower. Now, if you've never shot a black powdered pistol, I'm going to tell you right now, 500 Smith & Wesson, you're talking about the world's most powerful handgun in the world right now. The 500 Smith & Wesson, we are talking, that is a nasty customer, okay? Smith & Wesson claims it's loaded for bear. And what they mean by that is if you take this, the 500 Smith & Wesson into the woods, and you encounter an angry grizzly bear, you will have no problem stopping that grizzly bear in a full-on charge running at you. It is designed to stop a grizzly bear. But they do make what they call the X-Defender version. Well, again, there you're talking about it. The 50 cal sniper rifle, which is that round is coming up on 100 years old. I cannot pronounce it. I do apologize. That is very hard to pronounce. Polyunculanus. I just know I massacred that. I'm so sorry. But the 50 cal BMG round was, even though it was shot out of what they call Ma Deuce, the M2 Browning 50 cal machine gun. There are, okay, call you Paul. All right, I can do that. I'm so sorry. It is just so hard to pronounce. But we're talking, when you talk about the 50 cal BMG round, we're talking that round is nearly 100 years old, and it is actually listed as an anti-material machine gun round. The first U.S. sniper to ever use that round as a sniper round was none other than Gunnery Sergeant Carlos Hathcock. How you doing, Carla? Welcome to the live stream. We're talking, so again, I've never shot one, but I know it is a nasty cartridge. It is a nasty cartridge. It's one of those ones that it is nasty. Gunnery Sergeant Carlos Hathcock, great. One of the greatest snipers. Brandon Rogers, no, I haven't, but I know I have shot many of guns. I've shot many of them. My personal favorite rifle, I like shooting rifles left over from the World Wars. Those are my favorites. I like bolt-action rifles. I love bolt-action rifles, but right behind that, take any choice of Western guns. I love shooting Western guns. It's a lot of fun. Lever action, so much fun. If you have never shot lever action rifles, there's something so exciting. Yes, and it was exactly, Chairman. He was Red Dead. I actually I haven't played Red Dead Redemption, but I do own a copy of Red Dead Revolver, which was the original from the PlayStation 2. And if you've never played that before, it's a lot of fun. Kind of cartoonish, but it's a lot of fun. But, and I know some people are, like gun control. And I'll be honest with you, this day and age, I would say that more women should know how to handle firearms than the men, because bad things happen to good people. And no question about it, I think a woman should be able to handle a gun better than the men. And I honestly think that should be part of the curricular in high school. Before a woman can graduate high school, she needs to at least know how to load, unload, and handle, and somewhat be able to handle a handgun, a shotgun, and before she even thinks about even being able to graduate from high school. Because unfortunately, like I said, well, Samuel Colt put it well. God created man, and Samuel Colt made them all equal. So I believe that women should be able to handle a firearm, should be able to handle any weapon that's handed to her, including black powder. Exactly. And see, Megan, I guarantee right now, there is not a single guy that would mess with you, okay, ever, because you know how to handle all that sort of stuff. See, Rodney did a good thing by making sure you can handle yourself no matter the situation. And even if you aren't armed, even if you're in a public place and you're in oh God, yes, I know he does. Exactly. Oh my goodness, so many wonderful people. Gravetaker, good to see you, buddy. Charlie, wonderful to see you. Again, bad things happen to good people. And it sucks that it does, but I'll tell anyone right now, every woman should be able to handle a firearm, because even if they're not armed, even if they're in a threatening situation, any woman that I've ever met that knows how to handle one, even if they're not armed, they're very confident, they're very strong, And I think honestly and truthfully, every woman should be given that ability to feel strong in any situation. What's going on, Think Different? I haven't seen you in a minute, Think Different. You must have been busy. I that's just something I've always felt. Even if they don't know how to, even if they don't carry one, even if they don't own one, that if they know how to handle one, they're stronger, they feel more confident. Yes, I believe my wife knows how to do both of those, Megan. Yeah, they're hitting us pretty hard. That's why I went live early tonight. We're going to see how it turns out. And Rodney, remind me before the end of the stream so I could get that information for you so you guys can get into black powder because I'm going to tell you right now, you want to see your it's good. It is good to know these things. It is wonderful. And I know again, I know there's oh, you shot an actual musket. Ooh. I've never actually shot a a full musket. Purse knives, I think purse knives are good. Well, honestly, I think every woman should be able to handle a knife better than they should a gun. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but most horrible crimes usually happen like within a few feet of a person. Exactly, honey. I will tell you right now, Rodney, if you shoot a black powder gun, especially black powder revolver, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to find that you have to actually take your time so you can hit the target. You have to take your time, and it's a different animal. Yeah, no joke. No joke. You're right on the money there, Charlie. But I'll tell you right now, okay? Um, we're talking. Hey, what's going on, Mikey G? Someone trying to coax me into coming out and playing. Sad, because we know Project Spirit's got what it takes. But anyhow, but again, depends on the one we're talking. But so you'll find that you have to increase, okay, but you'll find that you have to hold it differently because the guns I'm referring to, oh, the night. All right. I'll have to take a good close look at it. A lot of times I have to. I'll go in and I'll kind of be watching it, but I'll be listening to it more than anything because usually I'm working on something. Um, really. Some people like that sort of stuff, but I'll tell you right now, oh, Megan and Rodney, they do music, really awesome music videos. They do really awesome music videos. Um, they're very talented folks, very talented. Um, oh, real quick, I know y'all want to see it. Yeah, drop the link, man. Hang on here. I know y'all want to see it. Project Spirit. Project Lena. Hoping the weather clears up. I got some work to do to the cars tomorrow. There you go. I'll say, yay! Don't know, I haven't talked to him in a while. How you doing tonight? Where else would she be? Can't even spell it right either. But anyhow, moderators, get ready. You get to break out your wrenches in a moment. And then I get to holler at a buddy. Well, if you can't spell it, then I guess that's your problem. I know how it's spelled. You obviously don't. It's French. Look it up sometime. Actually, bad today where I live. Yeah, you do in Farmington. And goodbye. Oh, 87 where you were at? It wasn't quite that hot where I live. God, Nathaniel never gets it. Oh, you live in Pittsburgh? Oh, really? Not, you got a 98 Caddy? Oh, man, that's awesome. You're going to have to do a video on that one. 61 where you live? Yeah, it's kind of like that where I'm at. It just started raining a little while ago. Yep. Oh, it's getting dark where you're at. It's not quite getting dark here, but it's been raining pretty hard for a little while. Oh, did it? Yeah, it just started a little while ago. Came up through the south. And anytime it comes up through the I'm keeping Project Spirit as a daily driven. I won't do a weekend car unless I'm going to be hitting up the drag strip regularly or I have more time to hit up car shows. Then I would do one. But honestly, for me, and this is just a personal thing for me. But for me, um, doing building a car that you're not going to drive it regularly. There's no sense in uh, for me building it if you're not going to drive it pretty much every day. It's one of those things that what we're doing here on the channel with Project Spirit is kind of what I would have done back in high school. And a lot of us guys back in high school, when I was a teenager, we're talking 1997, when I was still in high school, um, I would have, we would have bought a car, drug it home, fixed it up. Get off my channel, Nathaniel. Some guys. But some people do that. He lost interest in the project and he just finished it up. Yeah, I'm familiar with that one. I've never shot it, but I've read about it and it's pretty nasty. Um, you know, it, it's one of those things though. I'm a big fan of revolvers and I love black powder. As I started to mention earlier, and we'll get back to, car talk, if you will. Hmm. When it comes to talking about cars and things like that, I'll go on for days. But when you talk about black powder, it's a different animal because at the time when all your black powder pistols were made, it was one-handed shooting for handguns. So a lot of them were just kind of arm out like that. And there's a whole science behind that. When you learn that science, your accuracy with automatics go up. But with your single shots, you have to take your time and it forces you to get better. So there's a lot of science, if you will, that goes into it. Most people, oh yeah. As a matter of fact, right here on YouTube, you can actually watch a video that goes to that talks about one-handed shooting from our military, um, and it's basically it talks about keeping your arm like perfectly straight with the handgun, and that sort of thing. Um, so it's really cool what you learn from that video. As a matter of fact, I remember watching it and watching my accuracy actually get better from just watching that military video. But which some people knock the 1911. A lot of your what I call tacticals knock the 1911, and honestly, you really shouldn't. I mainly, oh, it's the same troll. It's the same troll. I know who it is. Actually, it's one of two trolls, and I just seen him earlier come in, and he doesn't think I know that sometimes he likes to play that game still, And then there's the other one, which is not a troll; it's a stalker. Um, the stalker, on the other hand, I know where he lives. He lives in Farmington, Missouri, and he's been told already to knock it off, or some country bumpkins will thump on him. Because enough's enough, you know. Them country types don't like you talking about women the way that he does. But anyhow, 1911s are really nice. Um, Now, it's one of those things we also have a really lousy um, prosecuting attorney, and we'll get into that one. Yeah. A 1911, actually, the Rock Island Armory 1911 is made, from what I understand, in the same factory as the Colt. It's just they're under a different company name, so they're cheaper. You want to get one, do not get one in a blue finish, get it in a Parkerized finish. The Parkerized finish is what you would have seen during the war, all of your wars. And the Parkerized finish is a little bit more waterproof. The blued one has a tendency to rust, so you want the Parkerized ones, and immediately get rid of those wooden slab sides. Get yourself a good grip for it, something in a rubber, because if you're like me, your hands tend to sweat. I have, and I honestly, that's more of a conversation piece, to be honest with you. But yeah, get a good grip. I'll tell you right now, one of the best competition shooters out there, and this is something that you guys might find interesting. One of the best competition shooters out there, he uses a 1911, and what he did is he took some like molding clay, and wrapped it around the grip of the handle, making sure not to interfere with any of the working parts. And he squeezed his hand around it like he was going to shoot it to get a good grip. So what from there, because it's molded specifically for his hand, um, when he goes to shoot in competition, his hand is perfect every time, and he never misses, never misses. And his weapon of choice is the 1911. And you're talking, if you want a 1911 for self-defense, 7 shots plus one in the pipe, unless you get the extended magazines. You can get it 8, and in some cases they even made some from World War One, where you can attach a longer barrel to it and a buttstock and a 50 round drum to it, so it becomes a carbine at that point. Which doing stuff like that during the First World War was very commonplace. We're talking this thing was nasty. The 1911 was 7 shots plus one in the pipe. Um, if you need more than that, you were in a bad part of town and you shouldn't have been there. Oh, you're talking about a guy who studies the world wars, well, avidly, avidly. There's a couple channels that I follow and look forward to their content. There's one called World War II. The drums, yeah, they're not good, but even if you didn't use the drums and you wanted a pistol carbine and that sort of thing, you could go with something like an 8-shot magazine, and that's 8 shots plus one in the pipe and a carbine design. You can't beat that. And the 1911 was the brainchild of John Moses Browning, the Thomas Edison of firearms. Okay, he was like, all of his designs were amazing. As a matter of fact, the U.S. military still uses one today. We know it as Ma Deuce, the M2 Browning machine gun. And even on an Abrams tank, we're talking that thing still rocks an Abrams tank. It'll still rock that thing back and forth like, yeah, it ain't good. It ain't good if you're the bad guy. So if that's any indication of that design, right, right. So we're talking serious power there. Back to that joke. Kills on one end and maims on the other. Uh, so again, we're talking, again, serious firepower. Now, what was the 1911 doesn't get enough love, and it's been around for over 100 years, and it still works. And I know some people really get hung up on the 9mm, but you got to remember during the First World War and Second World War. Oh, there you go. During the First World War and the Second World War, Germany, the country that designed the 9mm round, complained regularly that it did not have enough terminal velocity. Yeah. So that was actually a problem that Germany complained about it. Ironically enough, most countries now are switching over to our 45 ACP. Most NATO countries are beginning. 9mm doesn't fully get the job done. As a matter of fact, British SAS soldiers are taught with 9mm rounds and to aim for the head, because if not, you're not getting a kill shot. That's actually what they're trained for. It is cheaper, but there's a reason why it's cheaper. Okay, it's good for plinking. That's it. Unless you buy specialty rounds. So 9mm is not enough. At that point, you're better off going ahead and going with a 40 Smith, but cheaper yet than the 40 Smith is the 45 ACP. As a matter of fact, Glock even still offers a full-size handgun in 45 ACP. Okay, 10mm, you're talking about a great gun, but the rounds are super expensive because it's not a common cartridge. So you're back to, do you want something that you could shoot, easily get your hands on? Well, if you're talking about an out-of-the-box 1911, it's good for 50 yards. And in a self-defense situation, even if it's not necessarily a lethal wound, it is still lethal with a 45 ACP, because if the ambulance doesn't get there within 5 minutes, the person will bleed out regardless, because it just does that kind of damage. So again, if you're looking for something, full size 1911 is still very easy to conceal. It leaves a very, very minuscule profile for those that have concealed carry. But in Missouri, it is still perfectly okay to have, well, technically just about anywhere. It is legal to open carry, unless there's an ordinance law like, say, New York. Mm-hmm. The Walter PP7. I've heard a lot of people say that it is cool, but the trigger is like, it has a horrible trigger on it, and the slide is kind of, for a Walter, it's not super great. Walter does make great firearms, but the PP7 is just, it's cool because it's a Bond gun. That's about it. I've had a lot. I've heard a lot of people. I've heard bad reviews on Caltech. I've even heard some, and I know you guys are big Taurus fans, but I've even heard some about Taurus revolvers that are no good. Fire, oh, the PPQ is different. Okay, okay. You know, I'll be able to chat a little bit, but not a whole lot. Yeah. Uh, there you go. See, but myself personally, for those unusual firearms, myself, um, I do like the Walter P38 the most. That is a gorgeous looking gun. There you go. See, there you go. Now you're talking. And a lot of officers are going back to the big cartridges because it's just, it's, you know, it's just a harder hitting cartridge. You're if you're going to talk, again, you're talking stopping power. But back to cars. I started to talk about, for me, I like my old cars, and I like them being able to be daily driven because back when I was in high school, that's what we did. We found an old car, we drug it out of the weeds, paid whatever the guy was asking, and we drug it home, we fixed it up, and we drove it. Back when I was a teenager, you could still buy cars out of the 60s and real early 70s, what some people still call muscle cars, even though there was no such thing. You could buy them on the cheap. You know, Later, Charlie. Nothing but love, brother. Nothing but love. That guy's been with me a long time on here on this channel. He actually remembers my old days when I was still at like, 100 and something subs. That's been a minute. Zelda, if you want to come in, I'll leave the door open for you. Zelda likes going out to the porch and hanging out and Wang Chung. But when it comes to cars, I mean, I'll tell y'all right now, that's what we did, and that's what we're going to try to do with Project Spirit all over again. You know, so that's the big one. Project Spirit is meant to be a daily driven car. Now I know some people sometimes still look down their nose at the four door thing, but here's the thing: most of the two doors have already been scavenged up, and so the prices are ridiculous anymore. And a lot of people are now starting to go back to doing four doors, and of course doing obviously station wagons, hatchbacks, anything they can get their hands on now. Anymore because of the fact that it's just so hard to get the four door the four door cars, and get the two door cars, because even now, I know someone one time asked me a long time ago about, can you find a mint condition? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, hello there, Galaxy. Would you like to say hello to everyone in the stream? Yeah. Say hello to everyone. Yeah. She doesn't like to be cuddled a whole lot. That's her thing. She wants her attention. But yeah, if you're talking like, say, a 1969 Camaro Super Sport in mint condition, okay? Oh, she's a beautiful cat, beautiful. We're talking, yeah, she's not a big fan of all that huggy stuff, but if you talk about some, a mint condition, you're talking, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? They're not cheap. And if you found one that you could drag up onto a trailer, and I said drag, basically you have a body, you have a frame, it has no engine, no transmission. You might be lucky if there's any wires left. You might have a few pieces of the interior. You're not going to have any windows. Rust holes the size of the Grand Canyon all over the car. But it's still got a good frame underneath it. You might get lucky enough to have the rear end there and some of the suspension enough to help you pull it up onto the trailer. And you're still talking, any car of the 60s. You're talking starting price $20,000. Okay. Now, That's going price. Now that's starting to transition into the 70s. So even the the Mustang 2 going price with what I just described. Mustang 2. Most people don't even like the Mustang 2. I think the Mustang 2 doesn't get enough love. Um, all right, Megan, you go rest up. I'll keep you posted on all the cinnamon stuff, and as soon as you guys get Fortnite set up, holler at me. We'll do the try not to laugh challenge with cinnamon for you. You'll be done. you might make a couple minutes. But we're talking in that particular case, we're starting to even see now going price starting out for a Mustang 2 complete basket case, 20,000. That's going price for vintage steel, and that's even now transitioning into the 80s cars. Going price, 20,000. Unless you get lucky and the person doesn't know what they have. And the more that is still complete on the car, the more expensive it gets. Project Spirit going price right now here in the United States. If she was for sale, starting price $30,000. But in countries that didn't get something like Project Spirit, going price 120 to 150,000 US, and they still got to pay to have it shipped to their country. So if that's any indication what vintage American cars are, and we won't even talk about cars of the 50s, which is my favorite time frame. My favorite time frame for cars is the 1950s. I will one day own a 57 Chevy. I promise you. That is my dream car, the 1957 Chevy Bel Air 150 Series Black Widow Edition. You almost got to tip your hat when you talk about a car like that. And if you want it in original, if you want one of those completely restored, you got to get yourself. Yep, exactly. Chairman, you're right on the money. So we're talking, with vintage cars now, we're talking it gets expensive. So the 4-doors are in vogue again because you could still get them fairly cheap and as you would put it, Chairman, unmolested, because they're just there. They're just there. So Project Spirit's in that category. And even if you don't keep them original, they still turn a nice price. Project Spirit obviously is no longer original. She has changed an awful lot. Love you, honey. She's changed an awful lot over the years. So now we're talking with Project Spirit. We're talking, starting, that if I'd have kept her original and restored her, in the United States, we're talking 150. Well, if you completely restored her, no changes to as she was in November of 1974 when she left the factory. Those are $1 million cars now, and that's just the way it is. They're $1 million cars now. Any of that vintage stuff taken back to kept original and restored to its to exactly as it was, you're talking a lot of money. $1 million cars. And there's a guy that comes in here at least a couple times a week, comes in to the chat, and that's our dear friend Third Gen 83. And Third Gen actually owns a 1973 Ford Maverick that he has fixed up, and I told him what his car was actually worth in other countries. Yep. ZZ Top's 33 Ford goes for a very high price. In original. If you rebuild one, even if you fix it up as it would have been back in the day, you're talking a lot of money. A lot of money. It gets ridiculous at the amount of money some of these cars go for. Oh, really? Well, I was talking about the one that was on their album Eliminator. Is the one I was just referring to. Which that car was actually stolen. I don't think they ever found it, if I remember correctly. The car was actually stolen at one point, and they never found it. Um, and so we're talking, all the vintage American cars going for high dollar. Now, real quick, I did mention that about the muscle car thing, and I really, I've been putting it off, and I need to get my button gear on it. But when you start talking vintage American cars, um, when you talk about cars in the 1960s, immediately 1960s and 70s, all the way up until actually modern day, now you hear them refer to the performance cars of the day as muscle cars. That is inaccurate. There is no such thing as a muscle car. There was the muscle car era, but there is no such thing as a muscle car. Um, oh, really? His Aston Martin has never been. Oh, wow, that sucks. DB7. Aston Martin I'm sorry, DB6, the DB6. Amazing car. Very powerful for its time. Um, an amazing car. I mean, to me, that's a gentleman's car, hands down, bar none. Which, for a performance car, the gentleman's Mustang, the 60s and 70s Mercury Cougar. Gentleman's Mustang. Basically, it is a Mustang just with a different body and gorgeous, gorgeous. To me, I will take a Mercury Cougar over a Mustang any day of the week. And we're talking even, actually, one of the most popular of the 70s was the 1975 Mercury Cougar because it came with a 351 modified, and it was one of the most popular options of its time. Because there was still performance to be enjoyed under the hood. Of course, right behind that, for if you're a Ford person, the Gran Torinos, Gran Torino. Most people tend to forget that that was an amazing ride. Uh, the Granadas, gorgeous cars, if you don't mind boxy, which the Granadas actually rolled on the same frame as the Maverick and the Mercury Comet, which the Mercury Comet was Mercury's Maverick. Had a few more luxury features involved. Gorgeous ride. You can't find those anymore. Oh, wow. That's amazing. That is so cool. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of vintage cars, and I love it. And for the record, believe it or not, I'm actually a GM guy more than a Ford guy. And yeah, I'm rocking a Ford Maverick, but I'm a GM guy more than anything. And which GMs are my favorites? Oldsmobile, the poor man's caddy. Oldsmobile. I love Oldsmobile. That is my car of choice. I will tell anyone if you want luxury and you still want performance, Oldsmobile. How awesome is Oldsmobile? Well, everybody talks about the performance of the 1960s, and in the 1960s, Mopar owned the drag strip. But in the 1970s, that went away. Oldsmobile owned the drag strip. They owned the drag strip for years. I think all the way up until the 90s. It was Oldsmobile that owned the drag strip. As a matter of fact, the Oldsmobile 350 is still considered one of the greatest drag racing engines of all times. It's one of it does it, we've kind of forgotten about it because when you start talking, Oldsmobile 455, that's what everyone does. They go to the big one. No, 350. The Oldsmobile W350 was an amazing engine. It was stout, it was strong, and it made its way into many Oldsmobile cars. So much so that in 1977, GM could no longer keep up with the demand for the Oldsmobile 350 and started offering Chevrolet 350s in its place because they can make those cheaper and easier. So if that's any indication how popular the Oldsmobile 350 was, you just couldn't keep up with the demand because of how awesome the Oldsmobile 350 was. And of course, eventually it went away, and it is now a thing of the past. But the Oldsmobile 350 does not get enough love. And I will tell anyone right now, an Oldsmobile 350 is one hell of an engine, very strong. Pontiac 350s do not get enough love. Pontiac 350s made their way into the Trans Ams and the Firebirds, and they were strong engines. Uh, but Pontiac, for many years, suffered one major problem. They had weak crankshafts. So when you started adding a lot of performance to them, you had to be very careful pushing too much performance because you could throw the crankshaft right through the bottom of the oil, right through the oil pan with too much performance, especially when you started adding in nitrous oxide. Um, and then, of course, Chevrolet 350s. You don't get any better than a Chevrolet 350 if you want performance. And notice I'm not talking about stroker engines. A stroker, the 383 stroker is meant to do one thing and one thing only, and that's take you down a drag strip really fast. And if you blow it up, who cares? Because you're going to spend all week rebuilding it anyways. So if you want performance numbers, yeah, go ahead and build a 383 stroker, Chevrolet 350 bore 30 over with a 400 small block crankshaft. That's all it is. But that crankshaft was never meant for that kind of performance. That's why it blows up so easy. If you stick with a regular old Chevrolet 350 bore 30 over, which is actually a 355, you can't go wrong. And you can actually build those all day long, and they'll last a long time. They're good engines. But a 383 stroker, it's meant to do one thing, and that's just meant to take you down the track really fast. Honestly, if you want a 383 at that point, just get a Mopar. Which Mopar's 383 love. That was a good engine. Oh my God, amazing engine. Right behind that, the 440 is my person. If I was going to build a Mopar, I would build a 440 over a 426 Hemi any day of the week. 440 is the way to go. Slant sixes from Mopar. When you hear me talk about inline sixes, you never hear me mention Mopar because their inline six wasn't an inline; it was a slant six. You'll actually hear people erroneously flip flop them. Oh, damn good engine. 340 was a damn good engine. 318 wasn't bad. 340 doesn't get enough love. Their 360 was a damn good engine. Damn good engine. That one does not get enough love. The 340 was a damn good engine. Could keep up with a Chevy 350 any day of the week. Oh, really? That's an aftermarket. That's a serious aftermarket right there. I will say that right now. That's a serious aftermarket engine right there. Um, again, if you're going to talk Mopar, 426 Hemi, everybody I've ever talked to will say it's a good engine, but compared to all the other Mopar engines, even the 383, that damn thing was a dog compared to the other Mopar engines. It was just cool because of the hemispherical heads, but most people don't know this. You can take the heads off of a 426 Hemi and slap them on a 440, and they were nasty. Them 440s would definitely then were super serious nasty customers. And for example, one of the coolest Mopars out there, basically it was a 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner, just built for speed, and it was called the Plymouth GTX. And you seen it in one of the last Fast and Furious movies. That was a nasty customer. Oh my God. That you got it with a six pack or the 440 Magnum. Oh my God, man. You better strap yourself in, son. You're going for one hell of a ride. Oh yeah, they're out tonight. Frogs, yeah, you can hear all that stuff. But yeah, you don't get any when you talk the world of performance. 440 was the way to go, and I know John Schneider, guy who played as Bo Duke in the Dukes of Hazzard. Which again, I will say this right now out of the gate. When you talk Dukes of Hazzard, I love. Oh wow. That is crazy, man. But John Schneider, when he talks about being on the Dukes of Hazzard, he said that he drove a mini a General Lee on there, and the General Lee that all the General Lees he ever drove, they came with slant sixes, 383s, and all the different engines, but he never drove one that came with a 426 Hemi. All the General Lees, yep, they just burned through them. For the years, I always thought there was one hero car. Nope, they just kept building new ones, and they would use that one and wreck it, and then go to the next one. And so they were always just wrecking them. At one point, they swapped over to doing miniatures, which I knew that. I knew at one point they did, but then the jumps got silly and stupid, and then they went back to jumping the cars. Well, see, the problem is now 1968 and 69 Dodge Chargers are now in short supply because of the Dukes of Hazzard. So all of us gearheads, we don't like the Dukes of Hazzard because of what happened to those cars. So we have no problem with the dang, the Confederate, the South Carolina battle flag being on the roof. We have no problem with that. The problem that we have is all the cars that were wrecked. That's our problem. That's our beef with it. We have no problem with the South Carolina battle flag being on it. For those that do not know, when I talk about the General Lee and the South Carolina battle flag being on it, that is not the Confederate flag. That was the Civil War South Carolina battle flag. There was like 6-7 different versions of the actual Confederate flag. And none of those you can even find. No one even knows where to even begin, ironically enough. And as a matter of fact, the one and only Confederate president, Jefferson Davis, he actually spent his time in prison. He was released. The reason why a lot of people get behind the South Carolina battle flag is because South Carolina was one of the first states to secede the Union. And their battle flag was flown high by a lot of Confederate units. So it was erroneously thought that was the Confederate flag. Well, the problem is that most people don't know that Abraham Lincoln actually imprisoned the entire South Carolina State Senate. And he suspended the writ of habeas corpus, which is in the Bill of Rights, and held them indefinitely, which caused a huge outcry during before the Civil War, which led up to eventually causing us to go into the Civil War. South Carolina, their entire state senate was, again, not given a trial. They were held without trial indefinitely, without the writ of habeas corpus, and all of their constitutional rights were suspended. Even though they were United States citizens, and even though their state did secede the Union, they were still held indefinitely, which without constitutional law. Interesting. So when you hear about people, flying the Confederate flag, some people do it because they consider themselves rebellious. Has nothing to do with. Some do it for that reason. But they don't even know what that flag truly means. Native American actually talking, actual Civil War history. As a matter of fact, there is a guy, I believe, there's actually an African American gentleman in South Carolina that does walk around in a Confederate uniform because he believes that by doing so, he blurs the line of racism, because in Louisiana, there was some half African American, half white folk that were in the Confederate Army and held officer ranks. They were enlisted doing home guard duty. There was actually revolvers that were strictly issued to them, black powder revolvers, issued from the factory, from, if I remember correctly, Remington. Specifically for them, and 36 caliber for home guard duty. Actual officers. So a little bit of history there for you if you like that sort of thing. But when I talk about the Confederate battle, oh, the new Charger, yeah. Um, so when you hear about the supposed Confederate flag, it has nothing to do with that. As a matter of fact, if you actually look up Civil War history, racism never really took the forefront. Give you an idea. The Civil War started in 1851. And if I remember my history correctly, the Emancipation Proclamation wasn't issued. It wasn't signed into effect until 1854, 1 year before the end of the Civil War, and it was designed as a scare tactic to the South. This is actually what it was for. It was designed as a scare tactic, to scare them. And of course, one of my favorite movies of all time, you don't see it enough, Glory. Love that movie. If you ever want to see what true racism was, Battle of the Crater. Battle of the Crater. True racism did exist. As a matter of fact, there was a standing order amongst Confederate soldiers. There was a standing order issued that if they were to encounter an African American soldier during the Civil War, they were to shoot on sight. They were not allowed to take them they were not allowed to take them as prisoner, because there was an excellent chance that they could have actually been an escaped slave. So that was true racism. That's where it truly existed. There was one particular instance where 3 Confederate soldiers technically had captured an African American soldier from that one African American unit. He did surrender. But they were not allowed to take him as a prisoner. They had to shoot him on sight. They fired a single shot from their rifle, and it hit his belt buckle. It did not obviously kill him. He was screaming, I surrender, I surrender. And they reloaded and shot him anyways. So that is an actual true-to-life story. So if you wanted actual history, that is true history. Obviously, we hopefully don't see anything like that today. But we still see racism towards Native Americans within the United States government. That's another subject for another time. But when you hear about the South Carolina battle flag being on top of the General Lee, ironically enough, they're digitally removing it from the car, and John Schneider's like, look, man, that story, that whole TV show was not racism. If I remember correctly, in a neighboring county to Hazard County, there was an African American sheriff in that Georgia state next to Hazard. And he actually chastised Sheriff Roscoe Picotrain in one particular episode, chastised him for one time being a really good sheriff, but was no longer a good sheriff because he kept J.D. Hoss's company. J.D. Hogg as company, kept him as company, and spoke very poorly of Roscoe. I have no idea what it is, but spoke very poorly of him. I forget that sheriff's name and I forget the episode, but I do remember it. And I remember seeing it as a kid. I was like, wow, that blew my mind. Oh, it's an anime? I must confess, I'm not super huge on anime. There's a few of them here and there that I do pick up. Obviously, I'm a huge, when it comes to anime, I'm a huge Last Airbender fanatic. And I'm getting into Legend of Korra. I love that. But my personal favorite of all time, I have 2 personal favorites for anime. Wolf's Rain. If you've never checked out Wolf's Rain, not super popular, but damn good. You'll love it. Like 4 seasons, absolutely amazing. And then the original to come to the United States, Voltron, Defender of the Universe. Galaxy, welcome to the live stream. Yes, I am a huge anime fan when it comes to those shows. But if you've never seen Wolf's, I think it was Moon Phase I started to watch. I watched it and I liked it. Kitty Moo. Yeah, I love it. And but more than anything, I love the 2D. I'm actually for animation period, 2D American made cartoons. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. She-Ra, Princess of Power. G.I. Joe, a real American hero. Really? G.I. Joe, real American. Oh, you love it. You love it. You gotta watch it. Gotta watch it. Okay, Ghost in the Shell. Okay. You know, uh, gosh, there's so many to choose from. But one of the greatest cartoons to come out of the United States, Batman, the animated series. Done in what they called dark deco animation. You are talking like, ooh, that gritty dark deco. Oh, yeah. That's when they introduced Harley Quinn, which Chairman Cinnamon wants to remind you that her favorite comic book character and animation, villain character is Harley Quinn. That is her favorite. Yeah. Oh, Japan has amazing anime, obviously, but Galaxy, I will tell you, the first one to come to the United States. The first Japanese anime, to my knowledge, to come to the United States was Voltron, Defender of the Universe, and it was actually the company that did the voiceover. Basically did the American voiceover was actually done out of St. Louis, Missouri, not too far from where I live, about an hour's drive. World something or other Inc. World Productions Inc. And it's right out of St. Louis, Missouri. Huge now. And they have been discussing for years. They've been dicking around with it. Guys, get on it. World Production Inc. Get on it. A live action Voltron movie. They've been talking about it for years. I want it. All of us 80s kids want it. Get on the stick. Okay? And a lot of us are still pissed off about the 1980s He-Man and the Masters of the Universe live action. We're still pissed off. There was no Battle Cat, for one. The Sorceress was done poorly. There was no Orko in there. What the flying fuck? We're all still pissed about that shit. Get on the stick. Get it right. Us 80s kids deserve our, deserve our live action He-Man done right. That's what we get for leaving it up to Canon, okay? Canon Films. They screwed up all sorts of stuff. Astro Boy? I did not know that. Who could they get to play He-Man? Gosh. It'd have to be someone who understands action. It has to be someone who understands action. Not a joke. You have to get someone who understands action. And they're going to have to get somebody to actually do it right. You cannot do like they do today. Get a real stuntman, okay, to do it. Because the problem that we see today is they pay Dolph Lundgren. Well, Dolph Lundgren should have never played He-Man to begin with. Sylvester Stallone should have played it. Good old Sly should have played it, for one. Okay? I'm sorry. Sly should have done it. Sylvester Stallone should have been the one to do it, in my opinion. Because, we're talking, he's, at that point in time, what is your favorite anime? He would have dyed his hair blonde for it, though. He would have done it, and he would have done it justice. And I know some people might say Arnold Schwarzenegger, but no. I like Schwarzenegger. I think he's a great actor, but I think Sly would have been a better choice. Dolph Lundgren was the greatest B actor out there. I honestly, I don't think Sly would have been the better choice. Chuck Norris could have done it too. Really? I've never seen those. Really? The law. Yeah. Those would have been excellent. Gosh, there was a lot of great ones. We could use Charles. Honestly, I'll tell you a guy in action movie that never got enough credit because he was good. And as soon as I say his name, Charles Bronson. Damn good act. Oh my God. Damn good. And Death Wish movies. The Death Wish movies. You don't get any better. I'll tell you another one. Peter Weller would have done a great job. RoboCop. Come on. RoboCop. Peter Weller would have been a good choice. Gosh, so many great actors out there. Nope, I got the best. If Cannon was going to do it, I got the best one. Michael Dudikoff. Oh, really? Now I'm gonna have to check that out. Michael Dudikoff, and go to the first two of the movies called American Ninja. Really? All right. Oh, was it really bad? Okay, yeah. Well, they're just not doing Judge Dredd right. That's the problem. But, we're talking, when you talk, really, in Europe, okay, I'll trust you on it. Well, it's like the reboot of Ghostbusters. Sometimes, for those that don't know, for those that do not know, I am a huge fan of old video games. I'm a retro gamer through and through. My personal two favorite video games of all time. Favorite two. Okay, real easy. My two favorite video games of all time: Space Invaders for the Atari 2600 and the original Legend of Zelda for the NES. Those are my two all-time favorite video games. You don't get any better than those two. Now, Pong. Yeah, I do like Pong. I love Pong. Pong's a great game. It's very simple. AVGN did a Pong review, and it was an amazing... it's an easy video game. Okay? It's very easy. Now, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to blow everyone's mind. The reason why I love the original Legend of Zelda more than anything is the fact that it worked. Okay? It worked. Now, I love Pong. Oh yeah, I love Pong. But it's not my all-time favorite. Now, when you talk why I love the original, and I even love it more than Breath of the Wild, and I know there's some of you out there that'll say, oh, Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. No. Those games are okay. At best, in my opinion. Because without the original Legend of Zelda, all of your Legend of Zelda games do one thing. They show off what that console can do at its best, okay? It pushes the console to its limit. That's one of the reasons why When Nintendo releases a Legend of Zelda game, it is meant to do one thing, and that is to show off the console's capabilities. It is meant to show off. Now, Breath of the Wild is one of my all-time favorites, but the original Legend of Zelda, trust me, Genesis CD game. Oh, okay. Tomcat Alley. Okay. Now, the reason why I will, if you're going to get into retro games, take a look at Legend of Zelda. You can now play it on the Switch. It's a downloadable game. Pretty much, as long as you have the account, you can download it, play a lot of original NES classics and Super NES classics, not SNES. I hate that. It drives me nuts. Original Super NES classics. Now, if you take a look at all of the Legend of Zelda games, and I'm not going to include Game Boy stuff, okay, and that includes Color and DS and Advance. We're not going to include that. But even now, Link's Awakening, top down, okay? There's only been one side scroller to my knowledge, and that was Zelda 2. Okay, you have a Switch. You can play the original, yes. I have actually, in a live stream, it was a poorly done live stream, but it was a live stream. I did beat the original Legend of Zelda First Quest in a live stream in 8 hours. And it's a great walkthrough because I did it by memory. And there was actually a couple things I kind of forgot along the way, had to go back. That's why it took so long. Normally it's 6 hours. Really? So give it a try, Galaxy. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. Hands down, bar none. And if you have the chance, don't bother looking at any walkthroughs before you decide to play this game. Okay? Do like we 80s kids did. We picked up the manual and we read it. And it is online. You can read it. Look up the enemies. Look up the backstory. Read the backstory from the manual, okay? Then open up the game and then play it a little bit. And wander around like we did for a little while. It really give you what we 80s kids really kind of came into contact with. Because unless you had Nintendo Power, you didn't have any idea what to do. Oh, really? That is awesome. That's awesome now. So give it a try, and you'll find it's still addictive. Now that I've said all of that, there is some, ironically enough, Nintendo has managed to kind of shoehorn, if you will, a timeline, an official timeline. Yeah, if you don't go, wow, don't go through all the cutscenes. They've managed to come up with a timeline for all of the Legend of Zelda games, and it is a convoluted mess. It is a jacked up mess. Okay? Heads up, it is a jacked up mess. But they do believe, ironically enough, oh, 7 hours, fuck me. If you play the original Legend of Zelda, well, they actually say that the last two games that are for the Nintendo, Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2, Link's Adventure, is now the end of the timeline. Games that I was playing back in the 80s is now the end of the freaking timeline. Exactly, Zelda. But there are some now that say maybe Breath of the Wild is the end of the timeline. Nintendo's been unclear about this, but there's some now that say that the three timelines that Breath of the Wild connects them, but Zelda 1 and 2 from the NES is still the end. There's still that debate. I agree with that second. that the last two, and I could actually take you through Breath of the Wild and show you all of the spots from the original Legend of Zelda game. Basically, where you can find it in Breath of the Wild. I could actually show you where each and every spot, several spots where you can find them in Breath of the Wild, and actually show you in the timeline where Breath of the Wild is and how it would actually, look in, basically walk you through. I could actually do that. I've played both games so much I can actually do that. It's ridiculous. For those of us who have no life. Oh, damn it, Prince Magnum, that's insane. So I could actually show you how explain to you how the landscape could actually change and still make the original Legend of Zelda the end of the part of the end of the timeline. Could actually show you that bit by bit. Pretty cool, actually. Show you where all the labyrinths would be. It's actually really cool. Even where level 9 is in Breath of the Wild. I could actually take you there on Death Mountain. Really cool. In Breath of the Wild. It's not the labyrinth anymore, but it's still there. Skull Lake, actually. Because it's right next to Death Mountain. And if you say, through shifting of plate tectonics and, the volcano and everything, it would actually shift just enough where it would, and if there was a landslide from the mountain, where Skull Lake is, could easily become the 9th level in the first game. For those that, again, that's where it is. It's ridiculously easy. It's just right there. So if you wanted that useless video game history knowledge, yeah, it's there. That's what Skull Lake represents, is where the 9th labyrinth is. And that's actually on Death Mountain. As a matter of fact, you even get references in Breath of the Wild about the falling rocks, because the falling rocks coming down from Death Mountain is an actual when I forget the guy's name. Daruk mentions, wait a minute, those rocks are coming. He knew that Calamity Ganon was coming by the falling rocks, because in the original game, the rocks were falling down from Death Mountain when you were trying to get, especially as you got closer to level 9, where Ganon was. Is your mind blown yet? Yeah, I could take you to all those spots. Really cool, actually. I even got some video game theories that we're going to dive into at some point. Mekar Island was mistakenly thought of as being level 1. It's not. Level 4. It's level 4. Because you cannot get to it through a bridge. But where there's actually a city now becomes level 1. And because of the bridge that goes over it, going directly to that island. And it's surrounded by water. That's level 1. The original Labyrinth 1. Because of the stall enemies and everything. Yeah. So there you have it. See? Prince Magnum got the lowdown on that, huh? Y'all impressed yet? The 4 islands that's on the map actually is the islands. Yeah. Yep. Poor Jeremy. He's like, dang, man, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually sat there and walked myself through it. It's like, okay, that's this is this is this. Yep. It's all there still. There's some big questions, though, about Breath of the Wild. There's actually a place that you cannot climb up in the Gerudo Highlands, and there's questions why you can't go up that mountain. This particular actually, it's a plateau. You cannot get to the top of it. If the game will not allow you to go up it. Why? Now, some might say, well, that's the end of the map, but you should be able to climb it. There's no reason why you can't climb it. Unless maybe that's where the real Ganon is, because they have been very vague about Breath of the Wild 2. You get one really good trailer, that's it. And we don't know where they're at. They think that it might be in tunnels underneath Hyrule Castle. No. No, I don't believe that. I believe that when Ganon comes back, the real Ganon, because they actually say that the Master Sword, this is the dead giveaway. The Master Sword is the sword that seals the darkness. You could beat Calamity Ganon. Well, why is there an invisible wall there? Maybe that's where the, in the trailer, maybe that's where Link and Zelda are actually, not you, sweetie, the video game Zelda. Maybe that's where they're actually at, is going through caverns there. Because there's a lot of places out there to explore. Maybe that's where they're exploring, because if you look at the gear that they're wearing, it's cold weather gear. And it would make sense if they were wearing cold weather gear there, because it's very cold in the Gerudo Highlands. Very cold. You have to wear a lot of cold weather gear when going into that area. So it would make sense if they were wearing cold weather gear. Because you don't need cold weather gear near the Hyrule Castle. You don't need it there. Even if you were underground, you really wouldn't need it, if you think about it. So it would make sense if they were there. And that invisible wall is there because you're not meant to explore it yet. You're meant to explore it in the next game. Something to think about. All right, Chairman. So something to kind of think about a little bit, if that's your grab. But anyhow, so that's a theory of mine. That's one of my video game theories about the game. But they're supposed to be using a lot of the original stuff, but because of the pandemic, Breath of the Wild is on hold. But we did get the re-release of Link's Awakening and Hyrule Heroes, which is the prehistory to, the prehistory to none other than Breath of the Wild. So, and it's more of a dungeon crawler. It's not bad, but myself personally, give me a good, I don't mind a good dungeon crawler every now and again, but I've played the demo and I'm not happy with it. I'm just not impressed. It's not bad though, Just go ahead and give me my, just give me my Breath of the Wild 2. I want to play it. I'm ready. Come on, Nintendo, get on the stick. But anyhow. So that's where we're at. Okay. We talked about cars. We talked about firearms. We talked about a little bit of everything, even history. Good chilling, Chad, right, guys? But we're getting ready to wind it down for the night. I appreciate all of you being here tonight. If the weather clears up enough, we might go ahead and try to go live tonight. Probably not. I am going to be working on Save the World, because the reset was today for the shop. So I'm going to get in there and get all my stuff. I've got some schematics to cross over. We will probably be live streaming tomorrow's big Storm Shield Endurance event shortly after Sober Talk. So if you guys are down, if you play, Fortnite Save the World, definitely you might be interested. We might have a spot open. I do not know yet. I know that Mr. Gamerian will be there. Princess Faye will be there. Of course, it's my Storm Shield, so I have to be there. But we are going to have so much fun doing that Storm Shield Endurance. It usually goes for close to an hour. We might kick it off with a good warm-up battle. But then next week, we'll be live streaming, taking down The Storm King, uh, the original Storm King battle. So it's going to be a lot of fun doing that. But I need to take care of Prince Magnum's blood sugar. So that is me. Um, so 2 live streams tomorrow. Definitely looking forward to it. So if you got nothing going on later in the evening, I would highly suggest if you like a good video game every now and again, it'd be a lot of fun. So definitely get on, save the world, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to have a spot open, hopefully. If not, it might be none other than Mr. Broken Mike himself. Mr. Broken Mike is definitely invited if he would like to do it. If not, that's fine too. He may be really tired at that. It's late over there in the UK, but I would hope that he's there for Sober Talk because there's always something to take away from Sober Talk. And Friday, Faye's Corner, if she's feeling up to it. If not, it'll be an upload, a little something from us all. Then the following, Saturday, it'll be a Cinnamon live stream. Cinnamon will be live Saturday night. I hope you all bring your what the hell caps, at that point, because Cinnamon does her own thing. Sunday, I have no idea yet. We haven't gotten that far. It could possibly be an upload. Monday, definitely an upload. We're going to start uploading content to be released for Monday. Probably soon. So that's where it stands. So rock and roll, my friends. We got a lot of content coming out. I've got to get to work on a new script. We got a couple of skits coming out with myself and Cinnamon involved. So there we have it. Good week ahead, right? Good week ahead. Lots involved. I've got more content to work on about Project Spirit. Definitely exciting stuff there. And if the weather clears up, we could possibly even try to live stream a little bit of working on Project Spirit over the course of the next couple of days. We could try to do that. Got brand new equipment. We got to try it out. Right, guys? All right. So that does bring us to a good stopping point. I hope all of you enjoyed it. If you have not smashed that like button, please do so at this time. If you'd like to, some of your own personal Prince Magnum channel merchandise, the link is in the description. Grab that link. Get over there. Check out the merch page. Okay? Check it out. Great way to put back into the Prince Magnum channel. And you get something to hold in your hands afterwards, whatever it is, coffee cup, t-shirt, whatever. And I know that I got to get on to Princess Fade about getting something loaded up so you can have your own Cinnamon merchandise. There's Project Spirit merch all over the place. Right now, you can get your hands on it anytime you want. All right, so that brings us to the stopping point where I get to say to all of you, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is. Just do something with yourself. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for all of you out there, if no one out there has told any of you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.